What's up? The round of 16 of the Champions League is back on this week. We have been waiting for this since last year. And of course, we already know the bracket. And a lot of people have the same idea. My team's bracket seems a little bit too steep, but the other one seems like the Europa League. Right, Barcelona fans? This genuinely seems like it has been rigged, and Manchester City, of course, has to face Real Madrid again. So I thought to myself, why not predict every single game? I will pick the scoreline, and I will pick my MVP of the tie as well. Please stay until the end of the video, and if you do, you might as well like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your prediction down below. Let's go! And why not start with the boys in Newcastle versus our rivals Barcelona? Of course, the first game being played in England and the second game being played at the new Camp Nou. Now, this game has already happened in the group stage, and of course, you can remember what Newcastle did, what Barcelona did, but everybody will only remember that Marcus Rashford goal. I'm still thinking, how did he do that? And actually, if you didn't know, Newcastle is the team that Marcus Rashford has scored the most goals against in his career. That's a crazy fact in my opinion. And Newcastle, let's be honest, even though they have not been the greatest in the Premier League, they are actually good in the Champions League. They have been scoring goals, they have been playing good football, and I do think their players have way more freedom, and that's why I think they can hurt Barcelona. But if I'm being completely realistic, if this game was the other way around and the second leg was at the Newcastle Stadium, my prediction would be completely different, and I think Newcastle would have had a way better chance. I do think that at the home ground, the first leg, it would be 1-1. Newcastle and Barcelona will split a draw, and then the second leg, Barcelona will get the job done with a 2-1 victory. And I do think Rafinha will have a great game in the first leg and even in the second leg. I do think Barcelona have more quality and they will get through to the next round. And as they should. Newcastle are still a level below Barcelona. Let's get onto the second game on the left side of the bracket, which is going to be PSG, the former champions, and Chelsea, the champions of the Club World Cup, which they actually beat the Champions League winners PSG in, which is going to be a crazy tie. And yes, if you're wondering, it is the next day. Why? I was too tired to finish the video yesterday, but let's get into the Chelsea and PSG game, which is gonna be played on the same day as Real Madrid and Manchester City, which is an interesting decision in my opinion. Let me know down below if you think PSG should have been on another day. And the first leg is of course gonna be played in the Parc des Princes, but I have to say, even at their home grounds, both Chelsea and PSG have been so inconsistent in their league. Now, with PSG, it's more of a surprise because they just lost to Monaco away from home 3-1, and they drew to them as well in the Champions League 2-2, where they should have lost. If you actually watch that game, AS Monaco was giving them big problems. Now for Chelsea, one game, they struggle against Wrexham in the FA Cup, and then the other, they beat Aston Villa 4-1 in the league. It's honestly such an inconsistent team, but I think PSG is going to have the home advantage and they are actually going to turn up, as we have seen the year before, where they actually started to play way better in the knockout rounds. And that's why I think the first leg will finish in a 2-1 victory for PSG in a crazy game. Vitinha and Dembele are going to be the MVPs of the first leg. Now for the second match, I think Chelsea will put up a way better fight at their home ground at the Stamford Bridge. And I think if they have all their players fit, they can get something out of PSG. But it's just not going to be enough. I think PSG have way more quality, and if they play their best football, I think they are much better than Chelsea. And I do think that the Club World Cup was just a bit of a fluke from PSG, and even this season, I think they can turn it around. I think Luis Enrique will have a plan for Chelsea, and the second leg is going to see PSG make it through to the next round. I am predicting a 1-1 draw at the Stamford Bridge, and PSG go through on 3-2 aggregate. Let's now move on to the Reds from Liverpool versus Galatasaray, which I think this is actually going to be a surprise to a lot of people. I think Galatasaray will get absolutely smoked by Liverpool because I know they got through Juventus, but I don't think Juventus is particularly a good team. And even though I don't really rate them, in the second leg at their home ground, they should have beaten Galatasaray. They had people like Zagroba and Thuram missing huge chances, and that's why I think they lost that game. Even though in that first leg, of course, Galatasaray is at home and they completely destroyed Juventus, which I give them credit to, but I don't think they can do it back to back. And the second leg, of course, is gonna be at the Anfield Stadium. Liverpool, of course, the same goes for them. I don't think they have been this crazy team, but they still got through. You know, they are still doing much better in the Champions League than in the Premier League, because they just got beaten by Wolves in the last minute of a Premier League game, and they are only sitting in the 6th position. But I do think they just have too much quality over Galatasaray, and the second leg home advantage is just going to be too much. And I do think in the first leg, Galatasaray will put up a great fight. Liverpool will still be pressing. I think they will have more of the ball, but they will get at least a 1-1 draw. And Galatasaray is unfortunately going to get smoked 3-0 away from home at Anfield. And I do think the MVP of this tie is actually going to be one of the Liverpool midfielders. You can let me know down below which one you think is going to be, but I just think one of their midfielders will have a field day against Galatasaray in the second leg. Let's now move on to the moment you've all been waiting for. Real Madrid versus Manchester City. And we all know this is the most popular game in the Champions League now. Nobody cares what you say. This is the most boring game as well. Yeah, I don't care if it's popular. I don't care if it's get the headlines. I am now so tired. Like, get on with it, okay? It's becoming tiring. We face Haaland, we face Guardiola, we face these guys every single year. We lose to them, we draw to them, we win. I think it's now 5 wins, 5 losses, 5 draws for both teams in 15 matches. We are literally complete exacts right now. We are completely the same in all the games. We need to have a different team from now on. I hope this is the last season, but we have to face them again. And we have so many injuries. Rodrigo ACL, Jude Bellingham out of the first leg. Mbappe is now confirmed out of the first leg. We have so many players that are not performing, like Vinicius right now as well not performing. The defense not being too good. But City in the Premier League as well, they have not been looking too good. They just drew to Nottingham Forest 2-2, and they almost drew to Leeds as well, only winning by 1 goal. And I do think that City is now being overrated, that Real Madrid is going to get destroyed. And you probably think that I think that Real Madrid will be knocked out by Manchester City, but not on my channel. I still believe in Real Madrid just because it's City and we can beat them because we have injured players. We are a weird team. But when these players are not supposed to turn up, they usually turn up in the Champions League. Let's be honest, guys. When we have injuries, when we had Lunin in goal, and we had, I don't know, Lucas Vazquez playing, we just turned up. I think that Real Madrid will shock people, and I do think that Vinicius Jr. will do us a good in the first leg, and then in the second leg, Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham will hopefully be back. So now for my final prediction. The first leg is going to be played at the Santiago Bernabeu, which doesn't really play into our cards, but I'm going to say that Real Madrid wins this game 2-1, and Vinicius Jr. will be scoring both goals. Vinny, I'm literally giving you the keys to success. If you want to be the top dog in this team, and the players that are missing right now are missing, you need to perform in this first game and completely destroy Manchester City. And who else other than Vinicius Jr. versus Manchester City should be the guy destroying? Please, Vinicius Jr., turn up. Then the second leg, of course, it's going to be away at the Etihad. And I'm going to tell you something that is going to sound crazy. I think this game is 1000% going to go to penalties. I think in the second leg, Manchester City will just have too much of the possession, too many chances, and they will outscore us. I think the second leg will end 2-1 for Manchester City. Both teams will go into extra time, guns blazing, everybody trying to score. Nobody will score until the 120th minute, and then on penalties, the final penalty will be scored by Antonio Rudiger once again, and Courtois will prove everybody wrong that he can't save penalties. And that's how Real Madrid makes it to the next round. Is it delusional? Maybe. Can Haaland score 5 goals in the second leg? Yes, but I'm gonna stick with my team and say that Real Madrid moves on from penalties at the Etihad. Maybe that was a bit delusional, but you know what? It's fine, because you know who else is moving delusional? Bodo Glimt, because they just beat Inter and they beat Manchester City in the group stages as well, and they are now facing Sporting in the round of 16. So can the fairy tale continue, or will Sporting completely kill that dream? And this is going to be the simplest prediction of them all. I think if you watched Bodo and Sporting this season, even one game, I think you know Bodo is a better team. And I do think they play one of the best and entertaining football right now, because they are genuinely playing like they don't care. It's free-flowing. They look like they don't have a care in the world, and they are so good in the attack. And that's why I think this is going to be a thriller game where Sporting in the first game will get a 2-2 draw, and then in the second leg it will be a 3-2 victory for Bodo Glimt. I just believe in the Bodo boys, maybe a little bit too much, but then in the next round they will be meeting either Arsenal or Bayer Leverkusen. Let's get into that game right now. One of the favorites to win the Champions League this year is of course Arsenal, and after the bracket was revealed, I think their chances have gone even more up, and I do think this is once again a simple prediction. Leverkusen just don't have enough quality. And of course, I'm from the Czech Republic, Patrik Schick. I hope you can score 1 or 2 goals, you know, maybe get your name even more out there. But I do think that Arsenal have too much quality, they have too much squad depth, and their players will be there to turn up. I think in both games, it's gonna end in a complete destruction from Arsenal, and this will end in a 5-1 aggregate. However you want to call it, I think the first leg can be 2-0, and then the second leg will be 3-1 for Arsenal. I think they have too much quality, too much good players, and Arteta will set up exactly how you think he will. Corners, set pieces, and they will be destroying Leverkusen. Let's move on to the next game, which is gonna be the other Madrid, Atletico Madrid versus the relegation battlers from Tottenham, Spurs. Now for this game, I gotta protect my eyes because Tottenham and Atletico Madrid playing a game is like watching shit fight shit. Genuinely, that's what it is. Haram ball versus the worst football I have ever seen from Tottenham in my lifetime. They are genuinely en route to get relegated from the Premier League. And they still haven't won a Premier League game since the start of 2026. They have so many injuries. Their players literally want to get out, like Miki van der Ven and Christian Romero. And Christian Romero might be going to Atletico Madrid. That transfer could have happened last year. And Atletico Madrid is the weirdest team of all time, because they beat Barcelona 4-0, but then they gotten absolutely destroyed in their stadium 3-0. So make it make sense. What is Atletico doing? What is Tottenham doing? In my opinion, Atletico is the better team, but you never ever know what Tottenham can do. I think the first game will shock so many people, and Tottenham will win that game 1-0 by some scrappy goal. I even think maybe if Richarlison is gonna play, he's gonna score that goal, because it's Tottenham. You never ever know. But I think in the second game, Atletico will turn up and win that game just about 2-1, and it will go into extra time, and Atletico will get that final goal and will go through against Tottenham. And I think Tottenham will actually get relegated from the Premier League. At least I hope so. Ghost, if you're watching, this one's for you, buddy. Ha ha ha, get relegated, bruv. Now, moving on from Tottenham, we have the Tottenham boy, Harry Kane, and his team, Bayern Munich versus Atalanta. This is going to be the last game, and I don't even think there's anything other to say than Atalanta. I pray for you. I honestly pray for you, because this is going to be a generational beating. You know what Bayern does to these teams in the knockouts. This game against Atalanta, I will not do a single leg or a double leg, I don't know, MVP prediction. I'm just gonna say this is gonna be a complete brackage. I think Bayern is one of the biggest favorites of this Champions League season. And if, you know, Musiala returns, this team has a huge chance to win this Champions League. Now, this game against Atalanta is gonna end in a 6-1 victory for Bayern Munich. I think this Champions League round of 16 will be one for the history. There will be crazy games, thriller games, big games, but also the smaller teams will be getting touched, and no upsets will happen in the round of 16. Maybe in the quarterfinals, but we will have to wait and see. And so this has been my full round of 16 Champions League prediction, and I want to know your opinion on every prediction. Do you think any upsets will happen? And you need to drop your predictions down below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to watch another video, it's right here. You might like it as well if you watched up until this point. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.